New search Miami, where just a short time ago the cruise ship Brilliance of the Sea set sail after world-renowned forensics expert Dr. Henry Lee searched for clues in the case of George Smith, who vanished from his honeymoon cruise back in July. The attorney for George's wife, Jennifer Hagel Smith, was also on the ship today with Dr. Henry Lee. I asked Attorney James Walker what he thought of today's big development. Mr. Walker, this was your first time on the ship. What did you think?
Well, it was exciting. It was exciting to see Dr. Lee work. I can see why he has such an outstanding reputation. He was out in the hot sun for a couple hours today in the Miami heat, and it was exciting to see probably the best forensic scientist of all time working on a case of ours in this very important matter. There's not a lot of information we have from Dr. Lee, but we know that he was working hard, and he seemed to have a very productive afternoon.
When you saw the railing, we saw that there was a small chair. It looked like a lounge chair. Does it look to you that he could have fallen over on his own?
No, you can't fall out of a chair like that. You can't fall off the ship with that railing at that height. You simply can't do that.
What did you see down in the canopy, just from your vantage point? What did it look like?
Well, it was. It looked kind of like some of the photographs that have been provided to us, and you know, we're not going to be commenting actually on any of the evidence that has been provided to us. But it was, you know, it was a distance down, and it was pretty much what I expected.
Do you still believe foul play somehow was involved?
We've always thought that this was something other than an accident. We're still trying to obtain a lot of information from the Turkish authorities, from the FBI. There's certain evidence that the FBI has that Dr. Lee needs to see. We're making requests of the FBI, and we're going to try to get to the bottom of this.
So what's the family's take on today's events? Are they a step closer to getting answers as to what really happened, answers they desperately deserve? Let me now bring in George Smith's sister and also father, Bree Smith, and George Smith, and also with me here live is their attorney, Brett Rifkin. Bree, let me start with you. What's your reaction to what happened today?
We're very pleased that Dr. Lee managed to get on the board with his crew, and I have to say that we very much appreciate all of his efforts in trying to find out what happened to my brother. We're very hopeful that his investigation today will result in some answers for my family.
Do you think you got any closer to that, George, today? Do you feel like you got some inkling? He said to me afterwards, I found something significant, something related to the canopy.
Well, I do hope we get a breakthrough. You know, we're really looking forward to a breakthrough to bring this, you know, investigation to a conclusion, and I think he's the right man to do it. His reputation precedes him.
George, what have been your biggest questions regarding the canopy? What do you think has been the biggest, you know, issue nagging at you on that?
Well, you know, I know that American Embassy, one of the members from the American Embassy was in Clete Hyman's room the day after George went over, and his description and the way the indentation is on the canopy said that there was definitely foul play involved, and we've been going from that from the beginning, and that and some other things that we think that the Turkish police did good forensics, but they never really talked to any passengers on the boat, so I don't know how really you can do an investigation in 2 hours. Every professional person I've talked to said that it takes a day to 2 days to do a proper job, and you've got to talk to people, not just do fingerprints and blood stains and everything else.
You know, Brett, as you're sitting here next to me, you did get more time today, and I know that was a nice, pleasant surprise. You were there for, what, 6 hours? But was that still enough time to do? Do you still feel like you have a lot more to go?
Yeah, you know what it showed today? We did get some extra time at the last minute. The cruise line let us stay on there longer, and we spent 6 hours. Dr. Lee was there for over 4 hours. He had a team of forensic experts. And you have to understand, by the time he's on the ship, the blood's gone, the room's changed, and there's no carpet, and he's only able to do 3 out of the 5 experiments he would like to do, and we were still on that ship for 6 hours. Also, there's an issue as to he would have liked to seen the cabins of the people who were last seen with George also forensically inspected, which goes back to the very beginning in our premise that that ship was at a port and it could have stayed there. It may have inconvenienced some passengers, but they could have done a complete forensic. I mean, 2 hours obviously is just the tip of the iceberg. They interviewed 6 witnesses out of 3,000 passengers. When that ship was in port in Turkey, that was an investigator's dream. He had 3,000 potential witnesses in one place. The blood, and from Dr. Lee you can see he tried to recreate the blood today with some chemicals because the pattern, the dimensions, all those provide invaluable information to somebody really experienced at forensics. And you can't do all that in 2 hours. Ear witnesses, eyewitnesses. I think we're losing sight here too that forensics is one aspect of an investigation for a potential murder. You know, ear witnesses, eyewitnesses.
I noticed you were next door at the cabin as we're looking at a picture here. Saw you and James Walker come out at one point, and you were looking sort of what could the other passengers have seen, what could the neighbors have seen? Did you get a different sense from just what could have been heard or what was maybe missed?
Well, you know, it gave us a sense that the passengers on each side of that cabin probably had significant information that could have been obtained that very day and locked in that very day by the authorities. And one has to ask, you know, the Turkish police didn't interview either of those people on either side of the cabin. That's pretty incredible to us because those are major ear witnesses that tie in a timeline and things that they saw. And as time progressed, you know, memories are different, and they had that opportunity that first day when the ship was in port to lock in, not just them, but other key potential witnesses. The Turkish police never visited anybody else's cabin or interviewed all of the guys who were last seen with George, and I'm just getting to the tip of the iceberg of things they didn't do. And seeing Dr. Lee today and talking to him makes me appreciate what really could have been done had Royal Caribbean allowed that ship to stay there a day and a half, and, you know, allowed a proper investigation to take place.
You know, Bree, as obviously someone who loved George very much, do you feel that here we are 6 months later, Dr. Henry Lee may find this nugget and really push it forward?
Well, we're hopeful, Rita. You know, we're just hoping that someone will bring us answers, whether it's the FBI or Dr. Henry Lee. We're just desperate for answers, and any way we can get them, we would appreciate them.
What concerns you the most, and what did you learn today, Bree, as you sort of looked at what Royal Caribbean did allow Dr. Henry Lee to do? What still bothers you, and what are you satisfied with?
Well, I'm glad that the pressure we've been putting on Royal Caribbean through the media has resulted in extra time for Dr. Lee and his crew today. We're appreciative that, you know, Royal Caribbean finally did cooperate with us in some manner. And we're hopeful that, you know, the 3 out of the 5 experiments that he was able to conduct will be fruitful.
Do you believe that there's still some major issues? Does it sound like there was some movement, and I know you can't say exactly what it was, I don't even know what you've been told or not, but do you get the impression that there's still something major or something that's not quite right based on what you heard from Dr. Lee?
Well, I think that from what Dr. Lee said in his press conference, and I don't have a lot of additional information, that he did have a discovery that he's delighted with. So we're just hopeful that that discovery, in addition to the other experiments he conducted, will be enough to provide my family with some answers, which is what all we want. All we want, Rita, is to know what happened to my brother.
And George, closing thoughts from you, George?
You know, Rita, Royal Caribbean can say they're cooperating with the family, but I go back and say it again. We don't have a passenger list. We don't have a crew list. You know, they're leaving us in the dark out here. They can say what they want, but they don't want to turn over important information to us. That's very, very important for us to get on.
And George, real quick, have you gotten the passenger list at all yet? Have you gotten any information from
the only passengers that list that we have are people that contact us. That's why we've been going out into the media and asking people to contact us through Justice for George and some other sites we have. That's the only way we're getting any information now, Rita, and it's Royal Caribbean really is not cooperating that much. They'd like to say they are, but they keep spinning and spinning, and they're really not giving us what we want.
Additionally, Rita, as I mentioned on your show, I believe it was last week, there is a public statement by the FBI saying that my family has fully cooperated with the FBI, but there isn't that statement for Royal Caribbean. And they could put in all the press releases and say all they want on television that they're fully cooperating. But do we know that for a fact, Rita? I don't think we do.
Cosby, thank you very much, and our prayers are with you. I hope that we are one step closer to finding out what happened with George. Thank you both very much. And now let me bring back in with me the former FBI profiler and criminologist who was hired by Royal Caribbean, Greg McCrary. Greg, you know, you heard from the family, and they still feel very frustrated that they're not getting enough information from Royal Caribbean. Will you, I know you just came on board, will you make a vow to at least go through and see what you can get to these people?
Well, the important thing is to cooperate with the authorities. Certainly we have, they have compassion for the family and so forth, but I really don't know about a list of, you know, passengers and so forth. FBI has all that, that's for sure, and I'm sure they're doing the investigation and the interviews and all of that, which is the way it should be done. The other thing, as far as the ship moving out of port in Turkey, they were there and they would have stayed, I'm sure, had the Turkish authorities wanted them to stay to conduct a further investigation. So to say that they should have overruled the Turkish authorities or the FBI and made that decision to stay and demanded they do more really is something I think that's out of their hands, out of the cruise line's hand.
Do you think if this had happened in the United States, that ship would have stayed docked? I mean, everybody has different rules, but do you think it would have, you know, the FBI would have said, from your experience, they would have said, stay here on the port?
There's no way of knowing that for sure. The one other issue I wanted to address is this Henry Lee with the dummy thing. One of the issues there, I think, just from the forensic and the scientific point of view, that would make that sort of hoisting the dummy over the railing of questionable value is that there's quite a difference between doing that with a dummy on a ship that's docked at port versus one that's at sea, going 15, 20 knots, maybe pitching, maybe rolling. So to replicate that really would be very difficult to do. Plus, I know that Royal Caribbean has made an identical ship available for Henry to do that. In the near future, he can do it as much as he wants.
So we will be doing it at some point in the future.
He's certainly welcome to do it. He knows it, and he can do it if he'd like.
All right, Greg McCrary, thank you very much.
You
we
bet.
appreciate it
Happy
very
to do
much.
it.
And still ahead, everybody, as we continue here live right from near the port of Miami. It is called the Green Ferry and the Devil in the Bottle. But did the illegal alcohol called absinthe play a role in George Smith's disappearance? We're going to take a closer look at this dangerous and very potent drink. Also, new witnesses coming forward in the Natalie Holloway case. What are they revealing, and why do they wait 8 months to talk? The answer is ahead, live and direct.
You turn around, I'm left the cave, and I'm standing there by the pool of water alone, like I am in all of my dreams. And it just brought up a whole bunch of issues that...
Before they took off today, you're looking at a live picture